Happy Wednesday, everybody. I decided to come out of the closet as super straight. That is my sexuality. I am super straight, meaning I'm only attracted to female, born female at birth, meaning not transgender, obviously not male at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm completely super straight, and I'm proud of it. And you know what? If you're super straight, you should be proud of it too. Why? Because it's the natural order of things. You can make babies. It's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be proud of being super straight. Just like Kyle Royce came out recently, some weeks back, and created the super straight movement. Now, he's been labeled a lot of things as a result of that. A lot of people who self-identify as super straight, as I do, of course. Some of his friends have been kicked out of college and all kinds of weird stuff. This guy has had, I guess he made a video saying that he's gotten no benefit out of creating this movement. I think he's a hero, personally. I mean, he's a young guy. And right now, they're in schools, they're trying to push like bisexuality among kids. They're teaching transgenderism, essentially. Once all the COVID stuff's done, I'm hearing, now you can call this conspiracy theory all you like, I believe it 100%, that they want, not that they'll implement, but that they want to teach gay sex to 5-year-olds. Now, I'm not okay with this. If you're gay, go be gay. I don't give a crap, okay? If you're trans, be trans. I don't care, as long as you're an adult, okay? I'm 100% against transgendering children under any circumstances, no matter what the doctor says, no matter what the parents say, no matter what the school says, what the psychologist says. No way. Leave the kids alone, okay? Let them figure it out. If they turn 18 and say, you know, I think I really am born in the wrong body, blah, 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 then what can you do? You let them do what they do, right? You respect their decision. You may disagree with it, as I do, because I think it's insane to do that. I don't think anybody who does that is truly mentally sane. You can disagree all you like, and there's some that may seem pretty comfortable with themselves. There's a huge percentage that want to or attempt to commit suicide after transitioning. Okay, it's one thing to self-identify. It's another thing to go ahead and actually do surgery. Okay, so here's why I believe that they want to teach gay sex to kids. Here's why I want to say I about 99% know that this is true. Not that they're going to do it. Again, otherwise that'd be 100%. But I'm sure they want to do this is because about a year and a half or so ago, my boy Nick, okay, he's 13 now, so he would have been about 11 at the time. He came home from school. This is like about a week or so before school's going to end. I had a discussion with him about a friend of mine that is chosen to self-identify as gender non-binary. It's like, and he has all these studs on his face. He did this weird thing with his hair. It's freaky looking. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he's a nice person. Don't get me wrong. Or yes, because it's a dude. Okay, he's doing it as a fad. He's married to an attractive female, obviously female, who's identified as his wife on Facebook. So it's like, it's a thing. So I saw this, and his images kind of freaked me out a little bit. It was some weird looking stuff. So, I talked to Nick about this, and then Nick brought out this gender snow person. Now you can Google that. I have a picture somewhere on my phone. I don't know. He got rid of the original assignment that he was given. I hate to use the word assignment, given the context of this video and what I've just discussed so far. But the gender snow person, just Google it. You'll know what I'm talking about. Like, they're trying to indoctrinate kids into thinking that, their sex, their gender their sex and gender are two different things, and then what they're attracted to is something else. Now, look, I get it. People as adults figure out, whatever they want. I mean, I know guys since high school that turn out to be gay. Like I didn't know they were gay. I mean, whatever. I don't really give a crap. I mean, that's their thing. There's one girl I know whose husband became her wife, and nice person. Doesn't look like a chick. Although I think I saw them together one night at Safeway, and this now wife looks more like a chick, but still I know that it's a dude. I haven't heard him speak, or him. I'm sorry, I said it. I haven't heard him speak since this further transformation has happened. But when I saw him wearing a dress at the county fair, I mean, he definitely still sounded like himself. So I know this might get flagged for hate speech. I don't care because I'm tired of what's going on right now. Like, I mean, I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. I'm maybe a little bit bisexual phobic, to be honest, because I don't really know what some people are about. Now, if I know somebody's gay, I know what they're about, and I already know in my head, what they're interested in. I already know, hey, I'm not interested, but hey, you're a cool dude, whatever, okay? And that's just, how it is. I don't know, man. I'm not really bisexual phobic. That might be a bit extreme, but I'm not comfortable with transgendering, with people doing that, especially now because they're trying to push on kids. My step-nephew, they actually were trying to, like the school psychiatrist was telling my stepsister, I guess, or maybe my stepmom, that, because he seemed a bit confused. And, wow, this video is going to become a transgender video rather than a super straight video. It's all in the same vein of thought from where I'm coming from, so bear with me on that. If you don't think I'm a total evil phobe, okay, at this point. But if you do, then, unsubscribe, whatever. You want to flag my video, go right ahead. If you do, then we were never friends to begin with, because I believe in freedom of speech. You can have your opinion, I can have mine. So, where was I? Something about transgenders. Anyways, many of them want to commit suicide. And, my step-nephew. So, he's a boy, okay? But he has an older sister, and he has a mom who's kind of crazy and overbearing. His main male influence is his dad, who, quite frankly, is kind of abusive in terms of the paranoia that he instills in these kids. Like, showing them movies of people, like, of black kids getting kidnapped by white people and all this other stuff, and it's just like, because I was working at the house, he decided to show his kids some videos about white people kidnapping black kids and abusing them or some crap, and it was insane. Like, my stepmom had to talk to him and say, yeah, James is not that kind of guy. He would never, ever, ever do anything like that to a kid. Okay, like, so, likewise, I would never be okay with anybody transgendering a child, because that is as bad and worse than sexual abuse. It is sexual abuse. Okay. Isaac, I'm sorry, I shouldn't give his name. Like most boys who have, or who are alleged to have gender dysphoria, he's a boy. He knows he's a boy, and that was a phase. Like a lot of these kids, it's a phase. In England, it might even be a fad. Okay, so my nephew, it went away. I mean, it went away because that's what happens with 99% of these kids. They outgrow it. But you have teachers and counselors who are taking it to an extreme and saying, oh no, we need to, maybe give him therapy and maybe give him hormone therapy and maybe he's really born in the wrong body. there's transgender, like former transgender activists who are now saying, no, that's all a bunch of bullshit. Like that the whole thing about having different types of brains in the wrong body or whatever, it's all like, it's narrative, basically. It's not science. Of course, I'm not a scientist. I don't know, 100%, but if someone who's part of the movement, who left the movement, who used to push that narrative is now saying, no, it's all bullshit, then I tend to think it's all bullshit. I tend to think it's bullshit anyway, but I tend to think now, now more than ever, okay? And I see this stuff going on. I see the education of children going in a very bad direction. I see children that are, I'm sorry, they're being brainwashed by, I don't want to say liberals, I want to say leftists, I want to say extremists, some weird brand of Democrat. Not even like, we're not talking the Democrats from 2004 that said, fuck Bush, vote for Kerry. Okay, like we're not talking about the Tim Pool type of Democrats, okay? Tim Pool became a Trump supporter, by the way. And he identifies as a liberal, okay? Like, in fact, those who are of his style of liberal, that's the type of Democrat I remember back when I was, more or less the type of Democrat I remember back, in the early 2000s, early to mid. Although you had your, now Antifa types as well. And I did know some of them, but I also knew sane Democrats. The ones that are doing this stuff right now are not sane. They're screwed up. And some of them have no children. Some of them have children who I'm sure they put in private school to avoid all this crazy weirdness. Now I'm getting into conspiracy land again. What they're doing is destructive to the youth. Now, if you want grandchildren, you want biological grandchildren, you cannot encourage your own children to become transgender. I imagine people who work for the school system, I imagine the superintendent, I imagine all these guys probably have their kids not in the public school system. I could be wrong, but don't be surprised if it turns out that that's the case. That they send their kids to Monte Vista of all places, or Salesian Sisters, or some other type of religious private school, right? But I digress. Anyways, public school is, okay, so my 10-year-old going on 11, he is, he has a fellow student in his class that's transgender. That last year was, or before all the COVID stuff happened, was like, painting all kinds of black makeup on her face. Now she's identifying as a transgender male. So I think she was bisexual last year or something, or a year and a half ago. Now she's a guy. Okay, this is mental illness. This isn't, we shouldn't be treating these kids like, oh, this is the real authentic you. We should, we should placate these kids' fantasy. No, it's a fantasy. What's causing it? There's a number of different possibilities. One is that's sometimes, and there's a British study that was done on this, where that, ironically enough, I saw on Facebook through a liberal Scot. Okay, being liberal doesn't necessarily mean he's far leftist. Okay, I don't know what his full political views are, but I know he's pro like Scottish independence. But anyways, I digress. I'll leave his name out of this for the time being. But there's this boy who had a younger sister that the parents doted on, and so the boy thought, oh, well, I want to be a girl too. Well, thankfully, these parents found a child psychologist that was actually sane and says, well, maybe it's because you're not giving him much attention. So he thinks that the girl who's getting the attention is worth more to you guys. And so he wants to be whatever will give him your attention. I mean, that sounds pretty sane to me. That sounds pretty, like, spot on. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this can happen. And there could just be isolated cases where everything's normal, the parents are good, the kids get attention, and some kids still turn out different. Okay, when they grow up, they can do what they want. But while they're still a kid, you don't give them surgery. Okay, and I'm sorry, if a lesbian couple from Berkeley adopts a little boy and says, I want to turn this into a little girl, they're fucking crazy. Okay, and they should not be adopting kids. One, I'm not really pro-gay couples adopting kids to begin with. Call me traditionalist in my views, and I am, and I'm super proud of that. Just like I'm super straight. Okay, I'm not hating on gay couples that have kids. I'm not. My wife worked for a really nice gay couple that had a couple twins that, through in vitro fertilization. Okay, one of them's the dad, the other one's not the real dad. Cute kids, really nice kids, and the bosses were really good bosses, really great people. But the girl was calling my wife mama. Okay, because even little kids know deep down inside that mom and dad makes baby. That's the natural order of things. I know we're trying to change that with all the test tube babies running around. I'm sorry to say that. It's an old term. Call me a phobe. I don't care. But that's what they are. No, it's not their fault. I mean, it's not their fault their parents didn't choose to do it the natural way, or couldn't, or whatever. I'd still never do that, by the way, because you don't know if the doctor's not going to trade the egg and sperm for different egg and sperm, or if he's going to replace the husband's sperm with his own. Because that happens. It's happened a bunch of times. So I'm totally against in vitro fertilization altogether because of that. I think it should be abandoned as a science. There's tons of kids that need to be adopted. If you might risk not even having your own child be born out of your womb, why don't you just adopt a kid that needs to be taken care of? It kind of makes more sense if you think about it. But I mean, like the Asian couple that got IVF, and they had twin boys that were not only not related to either of them, but weren't even related to each other. But I digress. When we start playing God with human reproduction, it gets to be a little bit crazy. But you're welcome to have your own opinions on that. I know people who've done IVF, and I guess it's been successful. But I mean, again, it's not something I would ever consider. So, what else did I want to say on this subject? Oh yeah, back on the topic of super straight. If you are a cisgender male, especially a cisgender white male, you are basically the devil in a lot of ways. If you come out as super straight, you're a Nazi. You're automatically just this evil piece of garbage because you would never date a transgender female who's really a dude who got surgery and hormone therapy, or maybe neither. It's insane. This is a crazy world we're living in. I mean, if there's those of you guys out there who are interested in transgender, do what you want to do, man. I'm not encouraging it by any means, okay? But I mean, it's your life, okay? But for me, I'm super straight. I'm proud of it. If you're super straight, you should be too. So I've come out of the closet as super straight. Obviously married to a woman. I've got kids. Man, it's a crazy world. It's just too crazy. And yeah, like if you couldn't tell, I'm not big on the public education right now. If I can afford to put my kids in a private school or just do the homeschooling thing, I would. And who knows, by the time Michael is my baby, by the time he's 5 years old, he may not be going to public school, because this plan, this teaching gay sex to kids, they've been talking about this since like 2009 at least. Like, I mean, it's not something they've been able to implement, but it's something they've been talking about behind the scenes. And they're talking about it again. And with Joe Biden as president, putting that freak, Dr. Levine, so-called doctor, okay, who wants to modify children, is a terrible person, putting that person as in a high position of power over children's health is an act of insanity. But then again, Joe Biden is not really acting for himself. It's obvious that he's kind of being controlled. He's had a stroke that no one's talking about. There's a lot of problems with this guy. And he's making very bad policy decisions it's erupting now. There's a lot of problems. I don't care if you love or hate Trump. Okay, Biden's screwing up right now. And it's not, again, I have to tell people that I know, it's not him. He's a robot, okay? It's the people that are pulling the strings. nobody in the right mind would put someone like Levine in the position of power that person is now going to be in. And it sickens me to think of that. So, because I have kids. Now, a lot of people out there who don't have kids or don't want to have kids may not really care as much about this, but remember being a kid. Just think about being a child. And remember how different things were, especially if you're my age. I'll be 39 in April. So if you're born in like the late 70s, early 80s, you remember a whole different world these kids are growing up in. Okay, I have a stepson that's like 21, I think now. He's 21, going on 22. He'll be 22 in August, I think. I should know this. Hope my wife doesn't see this. Okay. The world he grew up in, the school system he grew up in is way different than what we grew up in. I mean, heck, even just a few years after I graduated, things are different. I mean, like by 2003, it was like you had people coming out of the closet at Watsonville High School. I would Aptos. But they're coming out of the closet and they weren't even gay. Like they were trying to be popular because right at that time, that's back when Queer as Folk was out. That's when Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was happening. That's when South Park was doing some pretty funny episodes on the subject. Both the Mr. Slave intro as well as the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I think the episode was called Straight Looking or Queer Looking. I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but it was a funny episode. And the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy guys became crap people. But back at that time, it was like the popular thing to come out of the closet, and it was the cool thing to become gay and to come out of the closet at that school. And that was like 3 years after I graduated. Now, when I was when I was a junior, the Gay and Straight Alliance came into existence. But my senior year, it was in full swing. They started broadcasting it across the airwaves at Aptos High School. It was very interesting. And I mean, granted, things may have been more homophobic back then, and all that stuff. I mean, I wasn't hating on gay people myself, I mean, but at the same time, like, in fact, when my friends and I would use the slurs, it wasn't really to offend gay people. It was to offend straight people that didn't like the idea of being thought of as being gay. So we'd call them, slurs. And, if it turns out someone was actually gay, and I found out, I was like, oh man, I feel guilty now. Like, I don't want them to actually think I hate him for being gay, right? So, and I know I'm not alone. There's the idea of like gay bashing and things like that wasn't really that wasn't something that was happening so much when I was in high school, at least not that I'm aware of. I don't know. It was a different time, but I know that just like literally 3 years after I graduated, all the new kids were living in a different world, and then it's only modified since then. Now there's tons of bisexual students out there because there's an influence going on out there that I haven't totally seen because I'm not a student in high school or K through 12, okay? That ship sailed like 21 years ago almost. So I'm in a whole different bracket. I'm becoming the old guy. I'll be 40 in just over a year. And the stuff they're teaching kids now, like we're talking the elementary school age, like 20 years ago, that would have been child abuse. That would have been something you can get sued and kicked out of school for. It's disturbing. So I don't care if someone comes out as being gay or bisexual or they decide to be transgender when they're older. That's their decision as they're older. Leave the kids out of it. Just leave the kids out of it. That's it. Okay? Don't teach stuff to kids. You don't need to teach sexuality to children at all. Just teach them basic human biology, reproduction. That's the most sex ed you need to give them. Whether in high school, okay, fine. You teach them about condoms. Okay? You don't need to educate them on gay relationships, transgender relationships, being gender non-binary. You You don't need to teach them about polyamory and all this stuff. None of that's necessary. Let the parents talk to them about that, or let them find out on their own. But that's not something. I mean, you're going to learn a lot from your fellow students, guaranteed. You're always going to learn a lot from your fellow students, and your buddies will teach you things that your parents don't want you to know. Okay. It's, I remember being a teenager, okay? I remember being in my early teens and learning all kinds of nasty stuff from, I'll give their first names. Guys like Marshall and guys like Wade. I learned a lot of funny, crazy stuff from these guys. And I knew a lot of stuff before I became friends with Wade, but, you know, again, I kind of blame Marshall for some of that. It's just a lot of crazy stuff. But, yeah, anyways, guys. Hope you guys are staying sane, staying safe. If you got kids, maybe go to the parent-teacher conferences. Maybe start being more involved in what they actually are learning in school. I always talk to my kids about this. Every like month or so, I start having a conversation with them about these type of topics. And I don't mean to like overbear them. Maybe it doesn't happen that frequently, but it happens enough to where they know my stance on the subject. Other than the fact that we're a religious family, there's certain values that I'm teaching them, and part of the value is don't judge other people for being that way. If that's what they are, then you don't judge them, you don't hate them for it. But I'm also not encouraging that type of behavior. Okay, I'm encouraging cisgender, heteronormative relationship types of things among my kids. That's the only in my opinion, the only correct way. I'm not, and again, this isn't hating gay people or whatever. A lot of them are unhappy though. There's a lot of straight people are unhappy too, but you can always flip that around, but percentage-wise, there's a huge amount of gay divorces right now. Like it way exceeds percentage-wise that of straight divorces. It's insane. Look up the numbers if you want. So, but again, they can do what they want. That's their lives. They're adults. They can do what they want. Okay? And I'm not going to hate anybody for being in that relationship. The problem is, and this is maybe going to be one of the final topics before I close this video, before it becomes 30 minutes long, is you got things like Drag Queen Story Hour, where you have children being read stories by a bunch of twerking what's the word I'm trying to use here? It's not transgender. It's transvestites. Okay, the word that's now not appropriate to say. Transvestites are reading stories to these kids, letting the kids lay down on top of them, and the parents are letting it happen, or the teachers, or whatever. And it's disgusting. And these people are twerking. And turns out a lot of these guys, and they're guys, are pedophiles. They're actually convicted pedophiles. And people say, no, we just got to teach how to not hate these people and let them express who they are. Dude, don't express that shit in front of my kids. Don't do it. Okay, you go to a gay bar and do that. Go to the Castro district or whatever. Okay, you go to a gay pride parade. That's fine. It's not fine, but whatever. Okay, do not bring that to my schools. Okay, don't bring the schools in this area. Don't bring it around my children, because I will go apeshit if that happens. I'll go apeshit. They're trying to get away with more stuff, like medically and educationally, without parental consent. They're trying to get away with more things, where they go directly to the student and talk to them, and then just basically then go to the law. They're trying to do that with the whole transgender thing. They're trying to do that with abortions for little girls and things like that. All kinds of weird stuff's going on, and I'm not okay with any of that. Okay, we need to reduce promiscuity and sexual activity among early teens and younger. Okay, heck, even teens altogether, maybe to an extent, just because, we do have a rise in teen pregnancy. It's been happening for a while. Unwed mothers, all that stuff. Boys born to single moms, and there's no dad in the picture, and there's never going to be a dad in the picture, and then all this weird stuff happens. Women are reading the gay BCs. Look that up. Gay BCs to their little toddlers, or making their toddlers read that. A is for ally, B is for bisexual, C is for, I can't remember what it was, but there's a whole gay BCs, okay? Look it up. It's insane. And this is what's going on in our country right now, is what's going on. They haven't implemented that in our schools. I'm sure you have teachers that would love to do that. So, as a parent, when I was younger, I didn't care. I care about the stuff, but I didn't care about it as strongly as I do now. I got kids now, and I don't want to see their minds, like, they're good kids. They're pretty innocent in a lot of ways, but they're still, they're hitting their teens now. I mean, one of them's 13. Okay, so talk to your kids. I talk to my kids. Teach them your values. And don't be ashamed to teach your values to them. They're your kids. Okay? Now, if your values involved teaching gay BCs, I'm sorry, you're a fucked up human being. Okay? I want nothing to do with you. Okay? If you're teaching transgenderism to your children, you can go straight to hell. Okay? I mean that in the strongest possible sense, because you are a terrible person. Okay? If you're teaching tolerance, okay. I mean, look, I'm teaching tolerance to my kids. Tolerance doesn't mean that you go do the same things that other people do. It just means that you tolerate who they are. I don't tolerate pedophiles. I don't tolerate child abuse, and that includes people that transgender their children, okay? I will not be around those kind of people, okay? I mean, and what's sad is that I teach leatherwork at the county fair. I've done so every year since 2013 up until recently. This is now a 31.5-minute video. I teach leatherwork to these kids. They come by, they take a little square of leather and they stamp out some cool design. Maybe even stamp a couple of them out if I have enough leather and there's not too many kids around. And it's fun. What happens next year when there's more transgender kids? I've not encountered transgender kids at the county fair. When all these years doing this. What's going to happen as soon as COVID lockdown is done? I mean, are we going to have a county fair this year? We didn't last year. I'm guessing we probably won't this year. And it disturbs me a lot. What disturbs me more is what it's going to look like after the lockdown is done. Is it going to be all masks? I'm not getting the shot. I mean, I support Trump, but I still am not getting that vaccine. I mean, Bill Gates killed a bunch of kids in Africa and India producing that. I'm not touching that. Sorry. Even if they don't have that requirement, even if they don't have the mask requirement, what's going to happen? Even if things were to just go back to kind of pre-COVID, what are things going to look like? How many transgender kids are going to be out there? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on because these parents are stupid and they're doing whatever the teacher says. Parents are not executing common sense. They're just doing whatever is, I guess, woke right now. And that sickens me, okay? All lives matter. Not just black lives, all lives matter. And that includes white lives, too. And that includes white police officer lives, too, okay? I don't want to see injustice. I want to see justice happen. But I want to see justice happen. I don't want to see mob violence alter the court decisions. Okay, I don't want to see that be a major factor in what the final verdict is. I believe in law and order. I believe there is right and wrong in this world. And I think that people do need to stand up and speak their voices. And this is my little way of doing that. I'm getting tired of Facebook. I'm tired of the drama there. Watching this, if you have me on Facebook, then you right now, instead of reading the text of what I write, you can hear my voice. You can see the expression on my face. You can see the tone. I mean, you hear the tone of my voice. You know what I'm really saying. You know, in the spirit with which I'm saying it. You can't 100% do that via message, although you can get it about 90-95% accurate, I would say, in interpreting people's messages. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a bit of a rant here. Please like and subscribe. I haven't got a lot of likes. I've had views, but not a lot of likes. And I'd like to see more of that happening if you guys like my stuff. I'll do more videos on my garden soon. There's been some slightly new developments. Nothing, you know, earth-shattering, groundbreaking. I do have a Dirk video I like to produce, but I also need to actually assemble one of my Dirks. I've been doing a lot of carving of different handles. I'd like to get those handles like finished. Like I got one that's like almost finished. I just need to finish doing the pommel and do some carving on that and oil that down. I've got some of them drilled out. I've got some the blades with the tangs machined down the way I want them, and I still got to cut some brass out. I cut brass out for one of them. It's not quite ready, and the brass is too thick, unfortunately. I can machine it down though. The yard still looks like crap. I'm going to get a mower this week and clean it up. And then on my next gardening video, I will you will see a much cleaner yard. I guarantee. I'll clean up the yard a little bit more. I'll clean up some of the stuff my wife has floating around. But it's getting dark, 36 minutes in. Take care, guys. Hope you guys are being safe. Hope you guys are, you know, having a good time despite all the COVID stuff going on. And hope you guys are able to work. I'm able to work right now, and it's good. It's good to be able to work despite hiccups along the way. So anyways, guys, I'll check with you later, and you guys have a wonderful Wednesday night, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.